Right, welcome to this Battlefield Terrain tutorial. I've got another setup for you here. It's an urban city fight terrain board with a road network running through. In this video I'll share every stage, so we'll start with the foundation, work our way up to the final finishing touches for this table. So as per usual, I'll share as many links as I can and guide you every step of the way. So we'll make a start with the foundation. So it's a battle mat here from gamemat.eu. It's one of their double-sided mats, so you actually get a design on both sides. This side here is quarantine zone, and then flip it over on the other side, you get the other design, which is the fallout zone. So two mats in one, slightly thicker mat, brilliant value. Now getting two designs just on the one mat. Comes with a carry case as well. This one is 60 by 44 inches in size, so perfect for your games of 10th edition 40K. Now with these mats, I've reviewed them before, but for these they've actually put the Nexus markings on them, just with faint lines running through, but every deployment zone for the Nexus card deck is marked out for you on this mat. So it's great for marking deployment zones, very useful, and also mid-game as well when you're trying to get units into deployment zone or no man's land and so on. For picking up points for secondaries. So really good for competitive play, tournaments, and also just for making things nice and straightforward. So you can mark out your deployment zone when you're setting your armies up. What about mid-game? It's very handy to have that on the board. So they've also put inch markings running along the edge here as well. Quarantine zone is a great design. It's not just standard grey. There's a nice lot of rusty colours running through. You can see these patches of colour, which is just blending in really good with the terrain here as well, these kind of areas. And they put a brilliant road network that runs across this mat as well, so you really can shape your terrain to really create that authentic city look. So big fan of all the rusty kind of colours going on. This mat's got plenty of it. There's more colours running down here as well. Just really love the different colours that they put onto this design. So you can check out that mat. I'll put a link for it below. You'll also find a discount code, so 11% off across the store, and that's for mats and pre-painted terrain. But that gives you a foundation, nice playing surface, soft playing surface, dead flat, nice and quiet for rolling dice, figure friendly, and it gives us a brilliant colour palette to start off with as we work on the rest of the board. So the main structure of the table, as far as terrain is concerned, it's mostly the industrial terrain set by gamemat.eu. It's one of my favourites. It's a larger set. You get plenty in with that. You get 4 of these. I've joined them together, so there's a pair of them, but you get 4 of those. There's 2 here and 2 across the other side. You get 4 large containers, 1, 2, and 3, 4. You get this large structure across here, and then you get, I think you get 3 of these. It's the pipes come in 3s, but you can't stack them like so. You also get some square containers, you get a dozen of those in with that set also. And as you can see, it's filled out about 2/3 of the table with that terrain. And then what goes really well with that, I've used Adeptus Mechanicus terrain here from Games Workshop, so I've made like a refinery sort of structure across here. So a bit of Games Workshop terrain, and then bulked out with the gamemat.eu industrial terrain set. And that's filled out this table really well. We've got nice gaps for units to flow in between tanks and so on. But nice strong terrain pieces just to really break up the table. So the terrain comes pre-made. There's no construction required, and pre-painted as well. The main colour scheme is this kind of colour for the industrial terrain set. So I've then taken some spot colours. This colour here is Avalon Sunset, and also the red colour that you can see here is Corn Red. So those 2 colours run throughout this terrain, both matching really well with the rusty colours that you can see here. You can see the yellow there, and also the deeper reds and rusts. So you're trying to unite the colours and have this united theme running throughout the table. I've done a tutorial on how to upgrade and paint gamemat.eu terrain, so I'll link that for you below. It's very straightforward. You're running a spot colour, and then I introduced a bit more metallic. I introduced a bronze colour running through here, then some stains and washes, and then chipping up, which doesn't take very long at all. So I'll link that for you in the video description below, but you can work your way through terrain with the right process. It's very quick indeed. It just means you can get your terrain to match in perfectly with your table. Then same process, I think, for the Games Workshop terrain, same colours being used with that terrain set as well. So that fills out the table really well for us. So next up is accessories and finishing touches, which really can make all the difference, just to really give that nice narrative and themed board. So to make the terrain look more abandoned, an easy thing that you can do is just add in some lichen. This stuff here, which you can get from places like hobby shops, model railway shops. You can find it on eBay as well. Nice rusty colours going on with this one, not standard green. Again, see, it matches in nicely with the terrain. So you've got like an industrial terrain layout, perhaps has been abandoned for a decade. So that kind of I Am Legend kind of theme going on. Just bits of it, not too much, but just little areas, just to show perhaps this area's been abandoned for whatever reason. So you can add that in. It's an easy finishing touch to do. And then we'll go straight to the stones here. So stones and scatter. So you have stones printed onto the design, like so. See it across here. And then you can add in real stones on top. And sometimes you can just mix the two together. So you've got the 3D and the 2D mixing together. That just really creates that bridge between the 3D terrain and then the dead flat surface of the board. If you can put stones in between, it just really creates the extra realism. Easy to do, just stones, scatter, spare bits of terrain kits added in. There's weapons and so on from kits just painted up and then added onto the board. Just little touches like this little las gun just lying there in the street. Things like that just make it 40k kind of vibe and just make it hyper realistic. So that's easy things that you can do. There's also some tank traps and barricades scattered around the table. The pipe system from Games Workshop, which connects up perfectly with the AdMech terrain. I think that's about it, but those kind of finishing touches, things like these barrels tucked in here as well, just to really add to the realism of the table. There's no reason why you can't reach this kind of level. The mat, you can get the same mat that I've got here, so that just gives you that foundation straight away. Then your terrain set, it comes pre-made for you, pre-painted in these kind of colours, and with some simple fast techniques you can get the same results that you see here. There's one other thing to point out actually. I'm a massive fan of these, and that's these walkways across here. They're great for spanning across gaps. So here, for example, there's infantry up here to get down, walk across and climb up. With walkways, just add a whole dynamic. They can just run straight across, and you're creating another level, a level above ground floor. You can see it here as well. Connecting up these AdMech pieces of terrain with these walkways just adds such a really cool dynamic to your games. So those walkways, you can see in here as well, just spanning a gap. Like this by itself, you can put a few models in each one. When you put a walkway across, you've now got an area where a whole unit can sit quite comfortably on top. So I have created a full tutorial on how to make these walkways. They are quite fiddly, but if you get into the knack of creating them, you can create a whole set, and you can use them across terrain sets. They're not themed, they're just metallic in color, so whatever terrain set you're doing, you'll be able to use them across whatever setup you have. So walkways, the same process for the posters, propaganda posters. Again, massive fan of those, just to really give you that 40k theme. There's one here for the Astra Militarum. These are just posters that I found on the internet, just Google search Imperial propaganda posters and then just printed them out. And then there's also perimeter fences, which I don't have on this board, but it's the same process for that as well. Check out the video, I'll put a link below, and that'll guide you through the process for making those. And it's great to see people constructing them and then using them in their games. So that I actually made some here as well and fixed them in place on this terrain piece, this central terrain piece here, to create a whole large area again where you can just get a nice lot of models on top of that terrain. So that comes recommended. That's more technical, a bit more skill involved, a bit more time involved with creating those, but they're a brilliant asset to have on your tables. But if you're looking for basics, battle mats, no problem. Terrain will fill out your table nicely, and then I would highly recommend you go for a bit of painting with that. It's fast processes, so it's going to take you a few hours, and then you'll get a nicely themed painted terrain set as well. Keep a lookout for more videos in this series. As per usual, we'll fade out with some music and some images to capture the flavour of this table. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.